All right, everybody, we're back. Craig with Single Length School. And as usual, even though we took last week off, I've got Zach back for another online lesson. Today, we've got some things. I've kind of already discussed some things with Zach here a little bit, but what we're going to do is I'm going to let him talk about what's happened over the last 2 weeks since we took last week off just because of scheduling conflicts, and then show you how we're going to fix what was going on with Zach. And then we're going to jump into doing some short game work, especially with the one lengths. And, I'm going to show you guys and show Zach how you can do it. Now, Zach's lower or higher lofted wedges, your 56 and 60, are standard length, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Well, what we're going to show is the same for everybody, regardless of whether you're in one length irons or one length wedges, I should say, or the standard wedges. So with that being said, Zach, give us an update of how it's been going the last 2 weeks.
All right. So overall contact and swings have been a lot better. I've been more consistent. I golfed 9 holes last weekend. And I did notice a few issues, but as far as, generally speaking, everything was straight. We, fixed my slice last week, and I didn't have a single slice. I actually had some hooks this week, which will, work on that a little bit, but I didn't have a single slice, which was awesome. I actually had a 300-yard drive straight down the middle with my new driver. I did update my driver to an F8. You recommended a newer Cobra driver. Didn't quite get the one you recommended, but that added, I think it was like 18 yards to my longest drive. So definitely helped there. The issues that I did have when I played the 9 holes were mostly my longer irons. I was getting really low ball flight, and a lot of them, if I did hit them well, still weren't going the distances I would have thought that they should have gone. And that's what we talked about right before we started recording. So
Yeah. So guys, Zach kind of gave me the heads up of what was going on with his longer irons. And, my first question to him, and Zach, you can vouch for this as well, but my first question was, how was the flight on your other irons? And what was your answer to that?
Most of them were lower. They didn't start hitting like normal trajectories until I hit the maybe 8 iron or so.
Okay. So what that tells me is you probably had the ball back too far in your stance. We typically, when you're seeing a lower flight and you're not getting the carry distance out of the clubs that you think you should be, and getting the flight, up a little bit. Obviously, loft is going to have a lot to do with that, but if it's not getting up in the air like you like, it's usually because it's too far back in your stance. If it's too far forward, then you tend to get it really high or hit behind it. So what I want you to do, Zach, is kind of show them where you were playing that ball position last week.
Okay. I think we're head on here so you can see good. I was playing, so here's my center.
Okay.
I was playing it about here.
Okay. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, if you guys kind of go back to the last video, to help get Zach to get that crisp contact feel, we actually did have him move the ball back a little bit. Now that he's getting used to the contact and his swing's getting more consistent, with that ball being back in his stance, that's creating his lower ball flight. So what I want you to do, Zach, is go ahead and put that ball right in the middle of your stance where you have the club, and go ahead and take a couple swings using that swing that we talked about before. And you've got that new Speed Zone 4 iron in there, right?
Yes, I do. I had a hybrid, and purpose of one length is to have less swings, and I can't swing a hybrid to save my life, so we upgraded to a Speed Zone 4 iron. So
okay, awesome. So for those out there, the Speed Zone 4 iron, it's in the one length, so it's the same length as his other irons. And this was the club he was having particular trouble with getting the flight that he wanted. So as you can see, we're going to move it into the middle of his stance along with the other clubs in his bag. And go ahead and hit a few for me, Zach.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm having a stronger grip like we talked about last week. Middle of the stance now, weight forward like we talked about in our first lesson. That was beautiful. That's much, much better than Saturday was. And one thing I have noticed with the one length is that the longer irons, they start out low and then they just kind of float up. And I wasn't getting that on Saturday at all. So
Okay.
yeah, all of those are dead straight 225-ish.
Okay, good. So I want you to hold off before the next one. But as you guys can see, with that little ball position change, what, about a ball, maybe ball and a half more forward?
Yeah.
Okay, with that little bit of change, we were able to create the higher trajectory, the higher carry with that 4-iron that you weren't seeing on Saturday. So what I want you to do is, because you said you had some issues with some of the other clubs until you got to the 8, let's go ahead and, just for comparison's sake, let's grab the pitching wedge you have, Zach.
Okay. All right.
And same ball position you just had the 4-iron in, same setup, same swing, and hit 3 or 4 for me, and I got a feeling you're going to see a higher trajectory than what you saw on Saturday with this as well.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a lot higher.
What's your carry distance on that come down at?
Guessing like 165, which is, I have the Arcos on these, and I had a really good hit at my pitching wedge one of the rounds, and my average was like 140, and this one just went 165 out of the blue. So that's consistent with that. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's a lot higher. It just goes up and drops and kind of stops, but that's about that same 165. I was a little left, probably about 160. Those are a lot more consistent.
Okay. Go ahead and hit this last one for me.
Okay. That was a bit more left, probably about 155. So
Okay.
a lot better range. I think my range on Arcos on this is between like 115 and 165. So to have 4 in that range is a lot better.
Okay. So, like I said, putting that ball a little more forward is giving you a little more height, a little more carry. It's going to help, obviously, if you're hitting into a green, that height's going to help stop it a little bit quicker on the green anyway.
Yeah.
But so that's my recommendation to fix the issues you were having. Just through the bag the whole way down, put that ball right there in the middle of your stance. You saw what it did with the 4-iron. Pitching wedge, no difference except for height and more consistency. You're going to see that the whole way across the board.
Okay. That's super helpful. Be good for this Saturday when I play another 18. So.
All right, awesome. So guys, now what we're going to do is and I'll cut it out here for you guys, but Zach's going to head over to the chipping area, and we're going to teach him and show you guys some of the tips and tricks I use when it comes to chipping around the greens.
See me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
All right, guys, so we've got Zach here near the chipping green. You're what, probably about 10 yards off of it?
Yeah. Holes about maybe 15, edges probably 8 to 10, something like that.
Okay. So what we're going to show Zach here is some chipping techniques that I like to teach the students. With chipping, one of the things I see the most of is guys chunking chips, chili dipping, not following through. When you're inside 10 yards from the green, really the biggest key is getting it onto the green. get it on there, make a couple putts. You know, I don't care if it rolls out, especially in your case, Zach, with you being a beginner. You know, the advanced students, it's one thing to get it up there, get it to stop, you know, within 10 feet of the hole. For most amateurs, most guys coming to single length or one length irons, the biggest thing is get it onto the green. Get it on, get the putt, and don't leave yourself short-sided. So what I want you to do, Zach, is almost the same exact setup as we swing, only I want the ball a little further back in your stance. Put it about a ball behind center.
Okay. About right there?
Yep. Okay. So now what we're going to do is same thing. Take your grip.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is press those hands a little more forward.
Press them forward like this?
No, towards the hole.
Okay.
Yep. And now go ahead and put about 80% of your weight on your front foot.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I want you to do is as you come back, cock your wrist first. Kind of start with your wrist. Yep. And then just shoulder turn back and shoulder turn follow through and hold those wrists through.
Hold them like this?
Yep. Keep the wrist the same. Just use your shoulders to go through now. And it's going to be a little tough. Maybe back off and take a couple practice swings.
Okay. So cock the wrist. Come through.
Yep. And actually press forward on that club a little bit more. There you go. There you go. I want you to get that feeling like those hands don't move after you make contact.
Whoa. Okay. That's a new feeling. Normally when I chip, I have to use my 56. I want to use my 60, but I just am not confident in it. But that was actually pretty good. Okay.
Okay. Now you want to make sure as you're coming through, you don't slow down. So you want to keep acceleration through the ball. And that's where a lot of guys have trouble with their 60. Chipping. And a lot of guys that have trouble even getting it onto the green, they don't accelerate through the ball. No matter what you do with a golf club, you have to accelerate through the ball.
Okay. All right. So when I come back, hey.
Yep. Just like that. Hold that follow through.
Okay.
I think we lost a little bit of video there, Zach.
Oh, give me 1 second.
You're fine. Wait 1 second. All right. Okay. All right. So we're back recording. So before Zach's feed cut out there a little bit, we were working on that follow through, getting those hands forward pressed a little bit more. That weight on that front foot and just cocking those wrists on the way back and following through and using shoulders from there. Yep. And just holding it through. Just remember, Zach, go ahead and accelerate through the ball. Okay.
Okay.
A little skinny on that one.
Yep. It's a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to go back as far. Just cock those wrists and nice smooth with your shoulders.
Okay. That's too bad.
Okay.
Do I want these? So these are running to the edge of the green. I mean, we're getting up there, but is there anything I should be changing?
I'll show you in a second.
Okay. Oh, right over the hole.
Okay. So what you're seeing here is we've got the ball a little further back in our stance. Okay. We're doing that press, and it doesn't matter what club you use, whether it's a 60, a 56, a gap wedge, whatever club you have, it's going to run because it's on your back foot.
Okay.
So now what I want you to do is actually put that ball just inside your front foot.
So like up here?
Up in there. use the exact same process.
Okay. So press it forward.
Yep.
80% weight. Oh, okay.
So this is going to fly a little bit higher, land a little bit softer. And it's going to allow you to carry a little bit more distance.
All right, let's try. Okay. That one about 5 feet from the hole.
Okay.
Stayed on the green.
Yeah, that one was buried. And you kind of decelerated coming down.
Okay. I'm afraid to like hit it hard. But
yeah, you can't be afraid to keep going through it. That's why I recommend using all shoulder turn from here.
Okay. Okay. That was a lot higher, and it didn't run too much farther than the other one did.
Good. Hit one more for me.
Okay. That one's probably a nice little 4-foot put. So
okay.
That's good.
Good. So what I want you to recognize is when you're chipping, that's your chipping motion regardless of where you're at. You've just got to get the feel of your yardages. So obviously, if we move closer to the hole, our shoulder turn is not going to be as big as the 10-yard chip.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other thing you want to remember is your whole location when you're on the green. Okay. So in a situation where the pin is the whole way across the green from where you're going to be chipping onto, the best idea is to get the ball onto the green and let it roll.
Okay.
So
that's when I would use the farther back position.
Exactly. You would put the ball further back in your stance if you want it to roll out more. And if you're trying to get it to stop a little bit shorter, if you know the pin's just onto the green a little bit, you're going to go to the front. And then if the pin's kind of halfway through, you put the ball position in the middle.
Okay. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
The way I look at it when I'm chipping and the way I like to teach it is from where you're standing, if the pin's in the back, the ball's in the back.
Okay.
If the pin's in the middle, the ball's in the middle. If the pin's in front, the ball's in front.
I can do that.
Makes sense?
I can do that. Yeah.
So let's do this, okay? Let's get – now there's going to be situations, and I want to put you in this situation because on the course you never know where the ball's going to lie until you get to it. So what I want you to do is push that ball down into the grass a little bit so it's kind of like a not so great lie.
Yep.
Okay? So on this one, you're buried. It's not going to be easy to get that ball to move at all. So what I want you to do in this case, doesn't matter where the pin is, when you're in a terrible lie, the only thing I want you to say to yourself is green is good. So to get it out of here, you're going to have to put the ball to the back foot. So you come down on the ball because if the ball's forward, all that grass is going to grab your club. So go ahead, put it in the back, use a little bit stronger swing, and see if you can't get it on the green or, on the fringe.
Okay. Yep. Stop right at the edge of the green.
Okay, good. And that wasn't an easy shot because I can already tell just where that ball was. The ball's into the grass. So the grass is kind of going away from the green. You were in a terrible spot. That's the best way to get it out. So go ahead and hit one more from a terrible lie for me.
Not about right. Ball lengths behind.
Yeah.
Not quite. Right up on, just short of the green. That was,
Yeah.
I think, me not. I decelerated.
Exactly. Yep. You slowed down on that.
Let's try it again. Oh, that was really good. I think that's close. Probably the closest one I've had.
Okay. And here's the thing. I think you got lucky with that one because you still decelerated.
Okay.
So make sure you're using those shoulders and turn those shoulders through. Remember, get those hands a little further forward, cock those wrists, and it's just a shoulder turn from there.
Same deceleration. Should I, how far back should I go? Should we quarter, half?
Well,
I mean, I'm not very far out.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Even though you seem close, you're going to have to use a little bit more because it's down in the grass.
Okay. It's right on the fringe.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, that was good.
Good. So you can see when you get a terrible lie, the only thing you want to focus on is ball first contact. That's where it goes to the back of your foot. When you've got decent lies, that's when you're going to move it up, move it middle, move it back based on where that pin's at.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other thing, and what I do is I tell guys in terms of pitch shot, when you're 25, 30 yards out, something like that, the motion is the same. You're just using a bigger shoulder turn on the shots. You're taking more of a half shot, 3/4 shot, depending on which club it is. So, when you're in that 30-yard range, and this is all stuff you have to practice. You've got to understand that shoulder turn's got to be this far for a 30-yard shot, this far for a 5-yard chip. That's all stuff you've got to practice. But if you use these techniques, you're going to see improvement and lower those scores around the green, which is where a lot of guys lose the scores.
Okay. Do you want to move over to some 25, 30-yard chips?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's do it. Do you want 60 or 56?
Take both.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you got in your hand there? 56 or 60?
60.
60?
I'm probably 25-ish out, I would guess.
Okay. So like I said, with the pitch shots, it's going to be the same motion, the same technique. It's all going to be on your shoulder turn. So the one thing I want you to keep in mind is you can hit the same shot with the 60, the 56, even a 52. The less loft it is, the more the ball's going to roll.
Okay.
Okay. So your sand wedge will actually roll more than the 60, 52 will roll more than the sand wedge. So, one of the things I'd like to do is try and get it on the green and rolling as quickly as possible. But sometimes you might have to carry a slope and want to stop it quicker, and that's where 60 is going to come in. So it's kind of a judgment call on your part once you understand the swings.
Okay.
But I want you to set up and do everything that we just did for the chipping technique. So press those hands a little forward, get that weight. Yep, get the weight up, and then take like a half swing, cock those wrists, and take a little bit of a bigger swing with it.
Okay. And the green's in the center, so I'm going to put it about center. Okay. That was a nice shot, but short.
Okay, so go ahead and add a little bit more shoulder turn to it.
Again, a little short. I might be farther out than I think I am. At that point, would you just more swing, or would you switch clubs? Because it's probably a good 5 yards off.
Okay. So what I would do is put it even further back in your stance
Okay.
and let it hop and roll out a little bit more.
Okay. Okay. That was closer. Not quite there. Yeah, I think I'm farther out than I think I am.
Okay.
I have a rangefinder.
don't shortchange yourself on your follow through either. If you come
Okay.
back 3/4 of the way, follow through 3/4 of the way.
Oh, okay. Let's try that. Oh,
You got a little quick on it.
I did. Nice, smooth, 3/4
Just
back.
nice, smooth swing.
All right, let's try 56. And could you do the same thing with, say, a gap wedge or something like that, or would you just switch to a more full swing with your lower wedges?
Well, it comes down to a preference call.
Okay.
I mean, you can still keep that same swing, and you'll see here with your 56, you're probably going to get it a lot closer.
Okay.
You can do it with the gap wedge too. And in some cases, I mean, you might want to use your full swing setup and take some off your 60.
Okay.
But let's use the same technique here, because I think you're probably a little bit closer to 50, 60 yards out maybe, just judging
Okay.
from everything. So let's use the same setup with the 56, and you should see it get closer.
Okay. So same or a little farther back in this stance?
A little further back.
Okay. Yeah, that's right on the edge of the green. Yeah, I think you're right about the closer to 50 yards.
do me a favor. You're seeing a distance difference with the 56, obviously.
Yeah. The last one was probably 2-3 feet off the green.
Okay. Put this one to the front of your stance. I want to show you the trajectory difference, but use the same setup, the same distance swing you were just using, but you'll be able to see the ball fly higher.
Okay. Yeah, that stops a lot faster, but it's right up there.
Okay.
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 Yeah,
So
that's a lot higher.
good. So those are, little more pitch shot esque shots. Obviously, we thought we were about 30 yards out. We're a little further. But you really didn't do anything different than your chipping technique, except take a bigger turn with your shoulders.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I want you to do is I just want to show you how you can handle these maybe 50-yard shots with your 60. Instead of a pitch, try and get it a little bit higher. So go ahead and grab your 60. And now what we're going to do is, because you've got a pretty decent lie, I want you to set up like you're going to take your full swing, but I want the ball a little more forward in your stance. And then set up just like a full swing and only take like a half swing.
Okay.
And just make sure you accelerate through the ball as you come down. Don't short yourself. Just make sure you follow through.
Okay. Okay. It's a lot closer. I think I need probably more like a 3/4 swing here. That was the best one, right up by the flag.
All right. How do those feel, Zach?
Those feel good. Those feel a lot better than my normal. Normally, I just use my regular swing, and there was one hole I hit clean over the green on my chip shot, so that was not so great. But that's a lot better, a lot closer than what I've been doing. So.
Okay. So those are the techniques I want you to kind of get used to around the short or around the green. Obviously, the chipping technique and the pitch technique are pretty much one and the same, just bigger shoulder turn for the pitches, the ball position, and then that little half swing, 3/4 swing. It really comes down to just you getting the practice in, understanding the yardages and what you're comfortable and what each type of swing will get you in terms of yardages.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to take a little bit of practice, but that's way more consistent than what I've been doing. So
good. So I think that's going to wrap up tongue-tied, but wrap up this lesson. You have any questions on any of that, or some of the stuff we covered at the beginning here with the fixing the trajectory distance issue?
No, I don't think so. I think putting the ball a little more center helped. The chipping I'll need to practice, but I think we've answered a lot of my questions. So golf game's improving. Good.
So what we're going to do next week is we're going to kind of refresh ourselves, and what I like to do is go back and get back into the bag a little bit, and we'll get back into kind of taking a look at all the clubs, making sure everything's looking good, feeling good. And we'll talk a little bit about the mental game as well, so that we can kind of get you in the right mindset of what shot you should hit, what shot you shouldn't hit. And we'll probably show you a little punch shot in case you get behind some trees as well.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. All right, guys. So that'll do it for this week. Thanks for watching. As always, I'm Craig with Single Length School. That's Zach from Muscular Style. Check out his YouTube page and all his stuff he's got going on social media. And until next week, we will see you guys later.